My boss blew up my whole team to worship some industry legend who was supposed to save the company. 3 weeks later, that same guy called me begging for help because he had no clue what he was doing. I was standing in the parking lot behind the old strip mall in Tempe, Arizona, staring at the shattered glass glittering around my feet. My car window had been smashed, clean hit like someone practiced, and the only thing missing was the red flash drive I kept in the center console. The one with every file, photo, and voice clip that proved what really happened the night my brother died. The desert heat felt alive, like it was pushing against my skin. My hands were shaking so bad I had to press them against my thighs just to keep myself from losing it. I knew exactly who took it. I knew because 2 minutes earlier, I'd gotten a text from an unknown number, "Stop digging. Last warning." Then a picture of my own damn flash drive in someone's hand. Someone wearing a familiar leather bracelet. The same one my brother's best friend, Evan Mercer, never took off. Yeah. That hit like a punch to the throat. I swear I could still hear my brother's voice. The last voicemail he ever left me. The one I'd memorized without meaning to. "Vin, something's wrong. Call me when you get this." And then nothing. Then the cops bumping his case to accidental overdose. Even though he hadn't touched anything harder than the occasional beer in years. And Evan, who was with him that night, suddenly refusing to talk, refusing to look me in the eye, refusing everything. I tried to breathe, tried not to scream, tried not to lose it as the truth slammed into me harder than the heat. Evan wasn't scared. He wasn't protecting anyone. He was covering something up. And now he had broken into my car to steal the one thing that could destroy him. My pulse thudded in my ears as I crouched near the broken glass, spotting something small caught between the shards. A torn corner of a white receipt. I picked it up carefully. Circle K, Baseline Road 3:02 a.m. 1-gallon gas can. A gas can. The same night my brother died. Evan bought a gas can at 3 in the damn morning. The cops never told me that. Evan never told me anything. And now I had a direction, maybe the first one that wasn't a dead end. But before I could move, before I could even think, a car engine revved at the far end of the lot. A black Jeep, Evan's Jeep, peeled out from behind the dumpster, tires screeching, heading straight toward the street. I only caught a glimpse of him through the tinted window, but it was enough to make my stomach twist. He wasn't looking at me. He was looking at the drive-through camera aimed right at us. And he smiled. Not scared. Not apologetic. Almost proud. Like he wanted me to see him. Like he wanted me to know that he'd taken the one thing I had left. My knees went weak, but I forced myself to stand, dusted glass off my palms, and grabbed the receipt like it was a lifeline. Because suddenly none of this felt like an accident. None of it felt random. My brother had called me saying something was wrong. And now Evan, his supposed best friend, was sabotaging me at every turn. Someone was lying. Someone was hiding. And someone was willing to break into my car in broad daylight to make sure I never found out the truth. But here's the part that still haunts me. The part that made my whole world tilt. Evan wasn't working alone. And the person helping him was someone I trusted even more. I didn't know that yet. Not then. But I was about to. Before everything blew up, before the smashed window and the stolen flash drive and the sick feeling that someone I loved was lying to my face. Life was just normal. Or at least normal enough for someone trying to rebuild after losing the one person who understood him without words. My brother, Adam, was 2 years younger than me. We grew up in Mesa, bouncing between cheap apartments, latchkey kids who learned early how to make ramen 10 different ways and how to survive on the kind of closeness you only get when life keeps kicking your family in the teeth. When our mom bailed, it was me and him. Always. That kind of bond doesn't fade. It burns into you. Adam was the calm one. Thoughtful. The guy everyone liked instinctively. He'd pick up people's moods the way other people pick up songs. If he sensed you were upset, he'd sit next to you and wait until you talked. No pressure. No pushing. He was just there. And maybe that's why his death cracked something open in me that hasn't closed since. The night he died, the cops called it an overdose in under 12 hours. 12 hours. No investigation. No toxicology back yet. No interviews beyond a half-bored officer asking Evan 2 questions in a living room that still smelled like spilled liquor. And God, Evan looked like a man who'd aged 10 years in a night. He kept saying, "It happened so fast." And I tried to stop him, like he was reading off a script he didn't want to memorize. I didn't push him at first. He was family to us, practically lived in our apartment growing up. He had sleepovers with Adam more than he slept at his own house. He called my mom until the day she left. He was supposed to be the person who'd protect Adam when I couldn't. I gave him space. I figured trauma does weird things. But the more I thought about that night, the more the details didn't fit. Adam didn't drink, didn't do drugs. He hadn't touched so much as a cigarette since he was 19. He was in recovery, strict recovery. He attended meetings. He carried a damn sobriety keychain everywhere. I knew his triggers. He knew mine. Then his phone disappeared. His laptop too. Cops said maybe he pawned them earlier. But I checked every pawn shop within 10 miles. Nothing. The more questions I asked, the more things twisted. Evan stopped coming around. He ignored my calls. When he answered, he sounded angry that I even tried. "You're making this harder than it has to be," he snapped once. Like I was the one ruining something. And then there was Mara. Mara had been my girlfriend for 3 years. She knew Adam almost as well as I did. She held me through the nights after he died. Listened to me talk through every theory, every memory, every gut feeling that something was off. She told me she'd help me fight, help me get answers, help me keep Adam's name clean. But as time went on, she kept steering me away. Every time I brought up inconsistencies, she'd soften her voice and say, "You're grieving, Vin. You're seeing meaning where there isn't any." She told me the cops weren't incompetent. They were just overloaded. She told me Evan wasn't avoiding me, he was traumatized. She told me I was hurting myself by digging. I trusted her. I trusted Evan. I trusted everyone who'd ever been closest to Adam. But then I found the voicemail, buried in Adam's archived messages, a day before he died. "Vin, Evan's not who we think he is. I'll explain when I see you. Please." I played it 100 times. 1,000 maybe. That voicemail lit a fire under me. It pushed me to gather everything: digital logs, screenshots, surveillance clips, receipts, timestamps. All of it went on that flash drive. The same one Evan had just stolen. Back then, I thought the only thing I had to worry about was him. I didn't know yet that Mara was already working against me. I didn't know she and Evan had a secret between them big enough to destroy everything. But I was about to find out. 2 days after the break-in, I was sitting on the floor of my apartment in downtown Tempe, surrounded by piles of notes, half-drained water bottles, and enough coffee cups to stage an intervention. My head felt like someone had their hands around it and was squeezing slowly. I kept replaying that moment in the parking lot. Evan speeding away, smiling at the camera like he wanted me to know I was already too late. But the thing about grief mixed with anger is that it turns you stubborn. It hardens you. And once I get locked onto something, I don't let go. I spread everything out on the carpet. Every weird detail from the night Adam died. Every screenshot. Every statement that didn't line up. Every timestamp that contradicted something else. I went through it the way Adam taught me to do puzzles. Start with the edges, then fill the middle. And that's when I noticed something I'd completely overlooked. The gas station receipt from the Circle K. The timestamp, 3:02 a.m. Adam's official time of death, 3:11 a.m. 9 minutes. 9. My heart thudded in my chest so hard it hurt. Why would Evan need a gas can at 3 in the morning? Why was he out alone while Adam was supposedly overdosing in his apartment? Nothing about this made sense. None of it matched what he'd told the cops. Or what he told me. I felt a wave of nausea roll through me, and for a second I had to put my head between my knees just to breathe. Then my phone buzzed. A text. From Mara. "Can we talk? Come by my place. Please." The message felt wrong. We hadn't talked much since the day she said I was letting grief turn into obsession. Her tone now was too soft, too sudden, too timed. Something in me whispered, "Don't go." But another part, the one that still wanted to believe she loved me, won out. When I got to her apartment, She answered the door with red eyes and messy hair, wearing one of Adam's old SU hoodies she'd borrowed months before. It twisted my stomach seeing her in it now. "I'm worried about you," she said immediately, pulling me in. "You look like you haven't slept." "I haven't," I admitted. She bit her lip. "Vin, you have to stop. Evan's scared. He thinks you're going to do something irrational. His parents are talking about getting a restraining order." I stared at her. "He broke into my car." She blinked. Not shocked. Just inconvenienced. "I'm sure he didn't. You probably dropped the flash drive or—" I cut her off. "Mara, I saw his Jeep. I saw him." Her eyes flicked away. A tiny twitch in her jaw. A habit she had when she was lying. I noticed it immediately. "So why exactly are you defending him?" I asked quietly. Her mouth opened, but she didn't speak. Instead, she stepped aside. "Just come in. Sit down. We'll talk." I walked into her living room, the place where we'd spent 3 years building something I thought was stable, safe, real. I dropped onto the couch. She sat beside me, close but too close, like she was trying to influence me by proximity. She touched my knee. "You're spiraling, Vin. You're hurting yourself, and you're going to ruin your life chasing something that isn't there." But I wasn't listening anymore, because while she talked, my eyes drifted to the small desk against her wall, the one she always kept neat. Only tonight, there was something on it that didn't belong. A Circle K receipt, folded once, placed under her keys. My throat closed, and as she kept talking about how I needed to let go, my brain replayed a memory I'd buried. Mara's car parked outside Evan's house 2 nights after Adam died. Her saying she was dropping off food. Her refusing to let me come with her. My stomach turned ice cold. Something was off. Something was wrong. And for the first time, I felt it with absolute certainty. Mara wasn't just protecting Evan. She was hiding something. A lie. A secret. Something big enough to risk everything for. And I had just walked straight into her apartment alone. I don't know how long I sat there on Mara's couch pretending to listen to her talk about healing and acceptance. But at some point the words started dissolving into static. My eyes kept drifting back to that Circle K receipt under her keys. Same store. Same night. Same damn timestamp style. My pulse climbed into my throat. I forced myself to breathe through it. "Can I get a glass of water?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. She nodded, relieved, like she thought I was finally calming down. "Yeah, of course." As soon as she walked into the kitchen, I moved. I crossed the room quietly, grabbed the receipt, unfolded it. Circle K, Baseline Road, 3:06 a.m. 1 energy drink. 1 pack of gum. My stomach flipped. 3:02 a.m. Evan buys a gas can. 3:06 a.m. Mara buys an energy drink. 3:11 a.m. Adam dies. They were both awake. Both out. Both near the same damn gas station minutes before Adam's death. And neither of them ever mentioned being anywhere near Baseline that night. I heard Mara's footsteps coming back, so I shoved the receipt under my leg just as she re-entered the room with a glass of water. She sat down close again. Too close. She looked tired, sad, soft. Like she cared. Like she was the one hurting. And for a second, I almost believed it. "Vin," she whispered. "I need you to trust me. I know you're scared. I know you're angry. But you have to stop digging into that night. You're going to make things worse." I stared at her. "Worse for who?" She flinched. "Barely. But enough." I leaned forward. "Why were you at the Circle K the night Adam died?" The color drained from her face so fast it was like watching someone get hit. "I what?" "Vin, I wasn't—" I pulled the receipt from under my leg and held it up. Her whole body froze. "Mara," I said quietly, "don't lie to me." For a long moment, she said nothing. Her eyes fixed on the receipt like it might burst into flames. Then her breathing changed. Fast, shallow, panicked. "Okay," she finally whispered. "Okay, yes, I was there. But it wasn't what you think." I felt something sour rise in my chest. "Then what was it?" She looked toward the door like she was checking for an escape route. Her fingers twisted together so tightly they went white. When she looked back at me, her eyes were wet, but not with guilt, with fear. "Evan called me," she said. "That night. After midnight." My heart thudded harder. He sounded bad, scared. He told me Adam had relapsed, that he'd taken something. He said he didn't know what to do. So I went over. She paused, watching my face, waiting for me to break. When I didn't, she kept going. When I got there, Adam was unconscious on the couch. Evan was freaking out. I tried to wake him up. I tried everything. But he wouldn't move. I swallowed hard. My throat hurt. "I wanted to call 911, she whispered. But Evan wouldn't let me. He said it would make it worse. Said it would ruin Adam's progress. Said it would get him labeled an addict again. I stared at her, numb, cold. "You didn't call?" I asked. She shook her head. "No, I didn't. I should have, I know, but God, Vin, I didn't know what he'd taken. I didn't want to go to jail for something I didn't do." I panicked. The room tilted, my skin buzzing, my vision tunneling. "You left him," I said, voice low. "You both did." Her face crumpled. "Vin, please." But then she said something that made my blood turn to ice. "I came back later, with Evan. We were going to call someone. But when we got there," she looked away. "He was already gone." My hands went numb. "And you didn't tell me?" I whispered. She squeezed her eyes shut. "Evan said not to. He said you'd blame him. Or me. Or both of us. We thought it would be easier if you believed it was just an accident." Easier. Easier. My chest felt like it split open. Couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. But before I could react, before I could say a word, Mara added one final thing. The thing that snapped the world in half. "Vin, we weren't just at the Circle K. We were together that night. At Evan's. Before everything happened." My heart stopped. They'd been together. Behind my back. The night my brother died. And suddenly, every lie, every deflection, every "you're overreacting" slammed into place. This wasn't just about Adam. This was about betrayal layered on betrayal. And I wasn't even close to the truth yet. I don't remember leaving Mara's apartment. I don't remember walking down the stairwell or crossing the parking lot or unlocking my car with hands that felt like they weren't attached to me. All I know is that I ended up sitting in the driver's seat with the door still open, staring at nothing while the desert air pressed against my lungs like a weight. Mara and Evan. Together. The night Adam died. And not just together. Together in a way that made every memory I had with her feel cheap and used. Every moment she held me while I cried. Every time she told me she understood. Every time she told me to stop digging. She wasn't protecting me. She was protecting herself. And him. The betrayal was so big it didn't even fit inside my body at first. It felt like someone pouring ice water into my bones. And under that ice was something sharp, something focused, something that didn't shake or crack. For the first time since Adam died, I felt clarity. I knew exactly what I had to do. I went home, shut all the blinds, and pulled out my backup laptop. The one Evan didn't know about. The one with a mirrored folder of everything that had been on the flash drive. Not everything synced, but enough did. Enough to hurt him. I started with what I had left. Adam's voicemail, copies of texts between Adam and Evan from months before, photos of bruises on Adam's arms he claimed came from falls. The timestamp inconsistencies. The addresses, the bank transactions, the weird $400 Venmo from Evan to Mara at 4 a.m. the night Adam died. A security cam still of Evan's Jeep near baseline, an archived file from Adam's email hinting that Evan owed money to someone sketchy. I laid it all out, one by one. And as I did, a picture started forming. Not complete yet, but enough to tell me one brutal truth. Adam didn't relapse. Something happened to him. And Evan and Mara were involved. I grabbed a notebook, Adam's old ASU notebook he left at my place weeks before, and started writing a timeline. Step by step. Every movement I knew. Every movement that didn't fit. I drew lines between Mara and Evan and Adam, and pretty soon the page looked like a crime board on a bad detective show. I wasn't trying to be dramatic. I just needed the truth in one place. When I finally leaned back, something caught my attention. A name I'd circled 3 times without even realizing it. Troy Meacham, Evan's cousin, local dealer, the same guy Adam had cut ties with years ago. My pulse kicked up. 3 days before Adam died, Troy deposited $1,200 cash. 2 days later, Adam transferred $600 to Evan. A day after that, Evan sent $400 to Mara. They were moving money, quietly, sloppily, desperately. My hands tightened around the notebook. This wasn't just a mistake. This wasn't just negligence. This was coordinated, and I needed proof. But I couldn't do it alone. Not against someone willing to break into my car, lie to my face, hide evidence, and rewrite the entire narrative of my brother's life. So I reached out to the one person who knew how to handle people like Troy. My cousin Dell, who'd survived a lot worse and had contacts in Phoenix none of us ever talked about at family dinners. I sent her one message. I need help. Serious help. It's about Adam and Evan and what really happened. She replied instantly. Where are you? Within 15 minutes she was pounding on my door, hair tied back, expression sharp and unreadable. I let her inside and closed the door. She glanced at the papers on the floor. You're finally ready, huh? I nodded. I want the truth, whatever it costs. She cracked her knuckles. All right, she said. Then we're doing this my way. I didn't know it yet, but Dell wasn't just going to help me. She was going to uncover the second twist. Something so messed up, so personal, so calculated, that it made everything Mara admitted look small. Dell didn't waste time. The moment she stepped into my apartment, she started scanning the room like she was cataloging exits, threats, and weaknesses. She'd always been like that, sharp, quiet, dangerous in a way most people never noticed until they should have. She crouched beside the piles of notes and receipts on the floor. Tell me everything, she said. So I did. I told her about the flash drive, the break-in, Mara's confession, the receipts, the timestamps, the voicemail, Evan's smile as he drove away. I told her about the money transfers, the lies, the secrecy. I told her everything I knew. She didn't interrupt once. When I finished, she tapped her finger on one thing I'd almost forgotten I'd printed out. A bank statement with that $1,200 cash deposit from Troy. You think this is where it starts? She asked. Feels like it, I said. Evan was always mixed up with him years ago. Maybe he needed money. Maybe he dragged Adam into it. Maybe Troy... No, Dell cut me off. That's not Troy's handwriting on the deposit slip. I blinked. Handwriting. She held the paper up. You see that loop on the T? The way the Y dips right instead of left. Troy writes like a toddler with a broken crayon. This is someone else. I stared at her. Then who? She didn't answer. She grabbed her phone, typed fast, then stood. Get your shoes. We're going. Where? To someone who owes me, she said. Someone who can tell us who actually made that deposit. Half an hour later, we were in a cramped back office behind a tattoo shop in East Phoenix. The air smelled like ink and rubbing alcohol. A skinny guy with sleeves of unfinished tattoos was hunched over a computer. Dell shoved the deposit slip toward him. Run it, she said. He scanned it without asking questions. Dell had that effect on people. After a minute, he leaned back. Well, this is interesting. He pointed at the screen. The handwriting matches another slip from the same bank. Same week. Dell crossed her arms. Whose? He hesitated. You sure you want to know? I felt my pulse hammering in my throat. Just tell us. He turned the monitor toward me. My vision blurred for a second. Because the signature, the handwriting, the person who made the $1,200 deposit was Mara. Not Troy. Not Evan. Not some random dealer. Mara. Every organ in my body seemed to clench at once. She hadn't just been there that night. She hadn't just lied to me. She hadn't just been helping Evan. She funded something. I staggered back from the desk. Dell put a hand on my shoulder to steady me. Why would she deposit money for Troy? I whispered. She doesn't know him. She barely tolerated him. Dell looked at me, expression darkening. Because it wasn't for Troy. The tattoo guy clicked to another screen, a A second deposit slip, same handwriting, same bank, same week. Another $1,200. Different account. Who's that one for? I asked. He zoomed in. Name on the account. Evan Mercer. My breath caught. She paid him. Mara paid Evan. Not covered for him. Not loaned him money. Paid him. For what? Dell turned to me slowly, her voice low and controlled. Vin. She wasn't just cheating. She wasn't just covering for him. She was part of it. All of it. The relapse story, the timeline, the panic, the silence. She held up the paper. Mara didn't just lie about the night Adam died. She paused, letting the weight settle. She helped plan what happened. I felt the world tilt. The floor felt unstable beneath me. All this time I thought Evan was the monster. I thought Mara was weak, scared, manipulated. But she wasn't. She was in it. She was active. She was invested. And the worst part? We still didn't know why. Dell tightened her jaw. There's one more thing we need. And it's at Mara's place. My stomach twisted. What? She looked at me with a face I'd never seen on her. Fear mixed with absolute certainty. The real reason she didn't want you digging, she said. The thing Evan didn't want you to find. She lowered her voice. There's someone else involved, Vin. Someone bigger. And Mara's been protecting them since the night Adam died. My head spun. Someone else. Bigger than Evan. Someone Mara was terrified I'd uncover. And Dell was taking us straight toward the truth. A truth I wasn't ready for. A truth that would change everything. Dell drove us back to Tempe in silence, her hands tight around the steering wheel, eyes fixed straight ahead. I sat in the passenger seat, gripping the printouts so hard they crumpled. My chest felt hollow. Wrong. Electric. Every possible explanation spun in my head, but they all came back to one thing. Mara wasn't scared of Evan. She wasn't covering for him. She was protecting someone else. Someone she feared more than losing me. Someone she'd lie for, steal for, pay off dealers for. When we pulled up outside her apartment complex, Dell killed the engine and turned to me. Listen, she said. Whatever we find inside, you do not react until I tell you. Understood. I nodded, even though my heart was beating too loud to hear anything else. We walked up the stairwell with slow, deliberate steps. Dell didn't knock. She slid a card into the lock, twisted, and the door clicked open. My stomach lurched, walking into the same place where Mara had looked me in the eye and lied without hesitation. Inside, everything looked normal. Too normal. Her couch blanket folded, candles lined up on the counter, the air still smelling faintly like her vanilla diffuser. Dell moved quickly, checking drawers, cabinets, her desk. She stopped at the small metal file box tucked behind books on the shelf. Found it, she said. My pulse spiked. Dell picked the lock with 2 quick motions and opened the lid. Inside were bank receipts, notes, printed emails, a burner phone, and tucked into the corner, an envelope with a name written in Mara's handwriting. A name that hit me like a sledgehammer. Hunter Marsh. I stared at it, the letters swimming. Hunter Marsh wasn't some random name. He was the owner of the rehab center where Adam had gotten clean. The same center Mara volunteered at. The same center she always told me was like a second home. Dell unfolded the papers inside. Her face went hard, stone hard. Vin, she said quietly. Hunter wasn't just running a rehab center. My lungs froze. She handed me a sheet, an email printout. My eyes scanned the lines, the sick feeling rising. Hunter had been running a side operation out of the rehab, pushing pills to former patients, keeping them hooked, keeping them coming back, keeping them paying. Adam had mentioned it once. Said he didn't trust one of the administrators, but he wouldn't name who. I thought he was being paranoid. But he wasn't paranoid. He was right. Hunter was the one Troy worked for. Hunter was the one who supplied him. And Evan, stupid, desperate Evan, owed Hunter money. A lot of money. And Mara hadn't been protecting Evan. She'd been protecting Hunter. Because 3 months before Adam died, Mara had started working part-time for Hunter. Under the table. Administrative help, she told me. But these papers told the truth. She was delivering packages, handling cash, passing messages, keeping Hunter informed about which former patients were most vulnerable. I felt sick. Then Dell handed me the worst piece of all. Another email chain, this one between Mara and Hunter. One line burned itself into my skull. Adam is slipping. If he talks, it comes back on us. My hands shook as I read it again. Slower. If he talks. Dell spoke softly but with a blade in her voice. They were afraid Adam was going to expose Hunter's side business. Evan owed him money. Troy was pressing him. Adam wanted out, wanted to blow the whistle. And Mara. She was the link between them all. My throat was raw. She helped them. Dell nodded. She told Hunter what Adam knew. She told him Adam had evidence. She told Evan that Adam was threatening to go public. No, I whispered. No, she wouldn't. But then Dell handed me Mara's handwritten note. Short, simple, horrifying. Make sure he keeps quiet. Do whatever you have to. The room tilted. I sat down because my legs simply gave out. Mara didn't panic that night. She didn't make a mistake. She didn't freeze. She helped set Adam up. Not for money. Not for love. Not for loyalty. For self-preservation. Because if Adam talked, her entire secret world, her side work, her cash flow, her involvement, collapsed. She'd lose everything. Maybe even go to prison. So she chose herself. Dell crouched in front of me. Vin, your brother didn't relapse. He didn't slip. He didn't accidentally overdose. She held my shaking hands. He was silenced. And in that moment, something inside me crystallized. Cold. Clear. Final. If Mara chose her future over Adam's life, then I was about to take hers apart piece by piece. The night I took everything back didn't start like a movie scene. No dramatic music. No storm. Just a cold, dry Tempe night and the buzzing street lamp outside Mara's apartment flickering like it was having a nervous breakdown. Dell stood beside me in the parking lot, arms crossed, watching the building with the steady patience of someone who'd learned long ago what real consequences look like. You sure you want to do it this way? She asked. I nodded. I don't want her scared. I want her exposed. Dell gave me a thin, approving smile. Good. Because once this starts, it doesn't stop. We'd spent the entire day preparing. Printing everything, organizing timelines, matching receipts, pulling phone logs. Dell had even convinced her contact to retrieve Mara's deleted messages. The ones linking her directly to Hunter and Troy. It was all there now, undeniable, airtight, lethal. I stood in front of Mara's door holding a manila folder so thick it barely closed. This wasn't revenge for heartbreak. This was justice for Adam. When she opened the door, her expression collapsed instantly. She looked wrecked. Hair messy, eyes puffy, hands trembling like she'd been pacing for hours. Vin, she breathed. I didn't think you'd... Sit, I said. Something in my voice must have told her not to argue. She stepped back and sank into the chair at her kitchen table. I laid the folder down and opened it in front of her. Every receipt, every email, every message, every bank slip, every timestamp, her handwriting, her instructions, her deal with Hunter, her payment to Evan, her silence while Adam's life slipped away, page after page, lie after lie. She stared at it all with a look I'll never forget. A silent begging for the world to rewind 8 months so she could choose differently. But I didn't feel sympathy. I didn't feel anything warm. Just cold clarity. Vin, I didn't know they'd go that far, she whispered. I didn't think... That's the problem. I cut in. You didn't think about him. Not once. She covered her face with her hands, shoulders shaking. Please, please don't ruin me. You ruined yourself, I said. I'm just putting it in the right hands. I placed the last document in front of her. A typed statement already prepared for the police, with every detail listed cleanly. I'm giving you a choice, I said quietly. You sign this and confess everything, or I walk out that door and give Hunter a heads up that you're talking. Her head snapped up, panic exploding in her eyes. Dell spoke from behind me, voice steady. You know what Hunter does to loose ends. Mara went pale. Her hand trembled as she reached for the pen. She signed her name like someone carving their own gravestone. I picked up the statement. "This goes to the police tonight," I said. "And the DA tomorrow. Hunter, Troy, Evan, all of them go down. And you're testifying." She nodded, tears streaking down her face. I didn't touch her. I didn't comfort her. I didn't forgive her. When I walked out of her apartment, I didn't look back. The fallout moved fast. Police raided Hunter's office the next morning. Troy was picked up within hours. Evan tried to run but got stopped on the I-10 headed toward Tucson. Mara showed up to the station shaking so hard she could barely hold a cup of water. But she talked. And once she started talking, she didn't stop. The truth spilled out like a dam bursting. Adam didn't die in confusion. He died because he was brave enough to try to expose them. The system finally listened. And for the first time since my brother's death, I felt something like air in my lungs again. The case was reopened. Charges were filed. Investigations expanded. Adam's name was cleared publicly. His sobriety record restored. His memory protected. And on the day the DA made the announcement, I stood in the back of the crowded briefing room, hands in my pockets, chin up, listening. When it was over, Dell nudged me. "You did it." "No," I said. "Adam did. I just finished it." We walked outside into the Arizona sunlight. Warm, clean, nothing like the night he died. For the first time in a long time, I felt like the world wasn't crushing me anymore. I stood there, breathing steady, knowing exactly what I wanted next. Peace. Not for them. For him. For me. And yeah, maybe a little revenge too. But the quiet kind. The kind where the truth ruins the right people. I looked up at the sky and said out loud, "It's done, Adam. It's finally done." And for the first time, I believed it.